What's going on, guys? Pixelated here, back at it again with another video. Today we're doing a little something different. You probably read the title, so you know what's going on. Check this out. I know what you're thinking. Wow, this is not a pretty sight to see. And you're right, it's really not. How does a box come through the mail like this? Well, let me tell you, it comes like this when it's not double boxed. To be fair, these Yeezy boxes are getting pretty tedious anyway, but it only seems fair for Adidas to stick with them. Adidas, just to stay consistent with the Yeezy aesthetic. So yeah, you can probably tell what these are just based on the box. You can see the name, the size tag right here. I don't know how close it is to the lens, to be honest. I could probably just bring it a little closer, maybe you guys get a better look. But you see what it says up here, 350 Boost. And if you didn't know who made it, it tells you right there that it was made by some guy named Kanye West. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get to busting these out. Presumably like the shoe, this box is pretty distraught itself. I can't even seem to open it normally. This might be a smashed thing. Might have to beat these sneakers out of the box. Disclaimer, I'm not a violent person. Don't be afraid to approach me. I won't do the same to you, I promise. Check them out, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there is a very distinct smell coming out of this box. It's like that factory smell, but it's a little sweeter. We got a couple other trinkets in here. One that you probably should not take advantage of. It is a Foot Locker receipt. So it turns out I'm a Platinum VIP member at Foot Locker. Do not pay resale if your guy's cashier's name is Kyle Ramos. Do not pay resale for that pair, guys. That pair is not legit. It's a little Fugaga. And if your store is 25198, I don't know if that's a real store or not. If it is, I'm sorry, guys. Most of these are going to be Fugaga. If that's your store number, 25198, and your register is 002, and your dude's name is Kyle Ramos, you probably got a Fugaga pair. Please be careful of that. $8. And the receipt's gone. And we got a that's cool. Okay. Little Yeezy notepad, guys. For all you artists out there, you can draw some doodles on here, leave your notes up on here whenever you get some oh, cool. You see they got the lime green colorway on there, unreleased. Guess what? They got a ton more unreleased colorways underneath. Y'all trying to get those purple K Yeezys. Got the creams. Well, they just look white over here, but we know they call it the cream colorway. And here you have it, folks. It's a pair of Zebra Yeezy 350 V2s. How much more can we add to that name? Let's see here. Adidas X Kanye West Yeezy Zebra V2s 350 in the Zebra colorway. Here's the caveat though, in case you haven't figured it out already. These Zebra Yeezys are fake. So what we're gonna do is compare these to my retail pair and see what's really popping off and how good these fakes really are. A few months ago, I'd catch a heart attack had I known fakes of these were circulating and I was looking to buy a pair for resale, just because the resale itself was already so high. You wouldn't want to get got spending 1.5k on a Fugaga pair. Thankfully, the restock even resell out significantly. Now you can probably get these for around 600 Canadian dollars. And although I'd still be disheveled if I didn't get my pair through retail and I had to spend that much to get screwed, the pain of getting got wouldn't be as bad as it would have been several months ago. 600 Canadian dollars is a much smaller loss than 1.5k. With that being said, I'm gonna try to spot some inaccuracies on these just to let you know what to look out for in case you're in the market to buy a resale pair. I mean, this notepad would probably be a huge giveaway, although I can see the practical use of this. I wouldn't want to get got buying a pair for resale that came with this notebook. And before we do a comparison between these and my retail pair, I just want to throw it out there that I'm thinking of other things to do with this pair right now. So if you have any suggestions of what to do with these, maybe like a cleaning review or a stress test or on-foot review or something you want to see done to these, just leave your ideas in the comment section below. I have a few of my own, but I will take yours into consideration. I want to know what you guys want to see. With that being said, here's my retail pair. We're going to do this comparison ASAP. Now, the first thing we should be looking at is the box, which is kind of counterintuitive on my part since I pretty much trashed it when trying to get these shoes out of it. I mean, just look at the text here. The font is completely off. It's raised a little bit, slid to the left, not even centered. I don't even know what to tell you. It's a dead giveaway. Looks like this box was handwritten. I'm lying. These are pretty much identical. Now, people will tell you you can figure out which is fake by looking at the numbers on the size tag, although I've looked at the entire thing and it's pretty much the same all around. I mean, the UPC codes on both these boxes aren't the same or anything, obviously, but there are no codes on the box that match the tag of these shoes. This goes for the fakes and the real as well, so I don't see how you'd be able to tell from that. The placement of the size tags is very identical as well, so no way to tell based on that either, unless there's something I'm missing. If I am, if any of you know, let me know in the comment section below, although I'm pretty sure there isn't any way to figure it out based on that. Looking at these side to side, there are some obvious flaws that'll help you determine which is fake and which is real. But honestly, if it was up to me and I only saw one pair without having made this comparison, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you if it was real or a fake pair. Let's look at the differences though. The most obvious difference is the midsole and the outsole. The white area of the midsole on the fake pair is super white, while on the authentic pair, the midsole has a little more of a light bone tint to it as opposed to a pure white. It's a small difference, but seeing these up close next to each other, it's pretty noticeable. I don't know how well it's coming through on the camera, but it is pretty noticeable in person. I shouldn't even say it's pretty noticeable, it's just barely noticeable. You kind of have to look really hard, even in person, to notice, but the difference is there. The next thing is the piss colored section of the outsole. If your pair is slightly less piss colored, it could potentially be fake. Here's the outsole, it's this guy right here. Obviously, I've worn my pair, so my outsole is a little dirty, and that might make it a little darker too, but even without it being dirty, it's a little darker. Yeah, so if your pair is slightly less piss colored, it could potentially be a fake. The authentic pair is a little more yellow and pissy than the fake pair. The fake pair is a little lighter and looks faded next to the authentic pair. The easiest way to tell that difference is to look at the little wedge of the outsole that goes up to the midsole on the back. You can see the fake is an obvious lighter tint than the real pair. As much as I want to say I wouldn't have noticed this had I not had both pairs next to each other, I must say this was probably the quickest giveaway for me when I first looked at the shoes before even comparing them to my authentic pair. What's craziest about these fake and real pairs is that the main differences are so obscure and that most people wouldn't catch on to them had they not done their research beforehand. It's the littlest things that you wouldn't notice until you were up close and personal with the sneakers. The next few things I'm about to show you are examples of that. So first off, let's start off with the most noticeable difference. I know these things aren't very noticeable, but there was one thing that was. It would have to be the back part of this upper. It's not something the average hypebeast would look for, but once you're made aware of it, you'll see that the pattern on the fakes has these black parts coming really high up above the midsole. You can see that on this is the fake one right here. You can see that it's a little higher, whereas on the authentic pair, it is covered more by the back of the stripe, and that black pattern slash stripe section doesn't come up, as you'll see this sort of pattern happen all along the upper. And I've been hearing things like these about fake pairs, so this might be the most constant thing on a fake pair. You'll see this sort of pattern happen all along the upper. It's pretty much the stripe is raised, and you'll see the lower area of the shoe a bit more exposed, lower area of the pattern and upper a bit more exposed, as opposed to the real pair where it is not as exposed. It's a very subtle difference at the front, but you can notice it. Obviously, you can notice it on the back and around the beginning ends right here. Pretty much the reason why more of the black pattern is exposed at the bottom is because the stripe on the fakes is much higher than it is on the authentics. Take a look at the ankle collar. You'll see on the authentics there's a fair bit of distance between the stripe and the ankle collar, allowing the pattern to be seen a little more and the stripe to be more evenly placed throughout the middle of the upper. On the fakes, the stripe is almost touching the ankle collar right here. In fact, on the left shoe, it might actually be touching the ankle collar. You'll see on the authentics there's a fair distance between the stripe and the ankle collar, allowing the pattern to be seen a little and the stripe to be more evenly placed throughout the middle of the upper, right here as well on both shoes. On the fakes, it's almost touching the ankle collar right there, pretty much exposing more of the bottom of the pattern between the stripe and the midsole. I've heard this before and it's a flaw on fake pairs, so definitely that should be one of the key things to look out for if you're looking to buy a pair off resale or if you're just trying to spot a fake. Now, with that being out of the way, these next few differences are very minute and tiny, and you probably wouldn't notice them even while potentially having an authentic and fake pair right next to each other unless you really took a good hard look at them. The first being the pull tab. For the most part, the pull tabs are pretty much identical, but there are two key differences. Going along with the stripe being too high on the fake pair, the pull tab is just as high and is too close to the ankle collar. You can see it right here. It's very close. It's not touching, but it is pretty close compared to the authentic pair. You can see there's a lot of space here. So if you know what you're looking for, this can be a dead giveaway. This can help you out a lot. Secondly, the more subtle difference, the width of the opening of the pull tab is narrower on the fakes. This is hard to notice unless you make a direct comparison like this, and you have to be really close, I think. Hopefully you guys can catch this. I don't know how well I'm translating it on camera, but I don't even know if this is going to come out properly because I can't see what the camera sees, to be honest. But the width of the pull tab on the authentic pair is actually wider. There's more space in between, whereas the fakes pull tab is narrower. So hopefully that's a consistent difference and noticeable enough that you guys can catch on to the fakes. The next thing is, if you look at the Supply 350 red text on the sneaker, or SPLY 350 red text on the fake pair, you can see more of the black prime knit underlay popping out, whereas the authentic pair doesn't expose much of the black prime knit underlay. I can promise you, the distance I am from the camera right now, you definitely can't see this. Hopefully I included a close-up shot. If I didn't, I don't know what to tell you guys. My bad. I'm sorry. My apologies. It is such a subtle difference. I'm telling you, if you saw these on the streets, well, if you saw someone wearing these on the streets, not if a pair was just chilling on the floor, that would be a little weird, but you would not be able to tell at all. You would have to stop them in the middle of the streets and let them allow you to carefully examine their Yeezys while having them stand still against their will to notice something like that. Finally, the last difference is probably the most invisible of them all, the laces on the fake pair. I know what you're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about, Pix? There's literally no way you can fuck up the laces. They're just regular white rope laces. Well, check it. Like I said, this is the most invisible difference. And I had to really have these next to each other to notice this. The rest of the stuff before this, having the knowledge you have now after this video, you can probably tell the difference, or at least be able to question it when you see a sus pair. With the laces, you probably still couldn't tell unless you have them right next to each other. But the fake pair's laces are a little too pure white. Even though I thought they were a pure white at first too, the authentic pair actually has a very slight cream off-white tint to it. It's such a tiny difference. I don't know if this is translating well on camera either, but hopefully it is. Hopefully some of you guys can tell. Oh, sorry, that wasn't the last difference. Finally, the last difference is with the insoles. I think this is pretty interesting, but in the past, it used to be the fakes that had softer details on the insoles, but it seems these fake manufacturers actually took in some of that feedback because these insoles look more crisp than the authentics. So this is the fake insole right here. This is the real one. So looking at the details in the debossed Adidas logos wouldn't be much help this time around. They look pretty much identical, although that might be because I've worn my real pair quite a bit and this insole may have been pressed and sunk a little bit, but the fake pair's insole is a little thicker too, so we can look at that. Maybe, but the main difference to note here is these little notches on the inner area of the insole near the toes. You can see the authentic pair has these very defined notches. There's about like 3-4 of them, while the fake one has these ugly, rough, too large notches, which probably is they're using a different machine to cut these insoles. There is a slight color difference too. The authentic insoles are a little more cream colored, whereas the fakes have this blue tint to them. It's almost impossible to see on camera, but in person you can definitely tell. And that's about it for this fake versus real comparison, guys. If you took anything from this video, please hit the like button. It's crazy how close fakes are of the Yeezy V2s, man. I'm kind of glad Adidas is releasing Yeezys with the stripe pattern on them because they're much easier to catch than, for example, the Black Friday Yeezys that are all black and just have a stripe on them. Imagine how easy it is to make fakes of those. With that being said though, I do have a few ideas of what to do with these fakes. If you guys have any thoughts or suggestions, I'd definitely like to hear it. I'm not just going to trash them because even though they're fakes, it was still made of material from the earth, and you don't want to be wasteful and just throw something functional like that when you can make use of it. The materials won't last forever, you feel me? I bet you guys can't even tell which one's real, which one's fake right now. That's because I got them all mixed up. Hopefully I can figure it out after too. On that note, the video is over. Catch you later. Pixelated out.